thank you so much to all the fans that came out today. It was an exceptional sign of, how far I think we've grown and where our program is hopefully headed. Unfortunately, the result is not what we want. It's incredibly disappointing. We can talk about a lot of different things, but inevitably that falls on me. So to the 14 plus, you have my sincerest apologies. I know this game is important. I wanted a much different result, as did our team, but we did not do enough to go out and do that. And that's disappointing. It's my responsibility. It's something that I have to improve on in order to not only win this particular game, but win a game like this. I thought Iona was a good step for us to beat a good basketball team. This is obviously a little bit better of a basketball team than Iona, and quite frankly, we're just not there towards beating that team. And I could come up with a lot of reasons why, but at the end of the day, the number one reason is me, and I have to find a way to fix that so that, A, our trajectory continues to go on the way that I feel like it's headed. It's frustrating to lose a game like this to a rival. I know how important these games are, and like I said, to the fans that came out and the Lobo fans that we have, I sincerely apologize. I know this is a big game, and we did not get the job done, and that's no one's fault but my own.
You talked this week about trying to take the Greg Jackson approach in emotion. You got teed up yourself. Your team didn't seem a lot of times to respond to them controlling the tempo and the emotion of the game. How did you feel you did in the emotion front as a team?
Yeah, I really wasn't trying to get one. I've done much worse. Mike teed me, and I probably deserved it. I don't want to make it anything other, but I just felt at that point there was about 3 or 4 successive calls there in a row that, to me, are those 50-50 kind of calls that all seem to kind of go against us back to back to back to back. And I was voicing my displeasure. I wasn't trying to get one. I really didn't seem I don't know. I guess looking back on it, I've been a lot more emotional on a lot more games. I don't necessarily think I was. At the end of the day, I think if you start to get down to the nitty-gritty, they had one terrific player tonight, and I think he changed the dynamic of the game in a lot of ways. And, the emotional stuff you talk about or we talk about, and I think as all those things play out, independent of that are obviously things that are still going to happen on the court. And I thought A.J. Harris was that's maybe one of the best performances since I've been here of an individual on us here. He was a difference in the game.
Coach, three-point shooting was night and day for the Aggies today.
Yeah.
Before their other games. What sort of some adjustments were you guys trying to make to slow that down?
It was really A.J. Harris. They made some shots early, and they made some shots. And like I said, going into this game, there were some games that they didn't make shots, and games they did make shots. It was tough to gauge how well some of these guys can shoot, and quite honestly, Harris would be one of those. But he was lights out, and by the time he got to about his third three and about 20 points. We tried face guarding him the rest of the night, just tried to keep the ball out of his hands. I thought that slowed it down a little bit. But by then, he'd already built up such a big lead for them. To come back from a deficit like that is really difficult. We tried, but, the probabilities are so against you in those moments.
Coach, you had a lot of ground to make up going down by as much as 20. For you guys to get that kind of energy, do you feel like you all matched their intensity from start to finish, or did it pick up like in the second round?
Like I was just saying to Jeff, I don't even know how much emotion really played a part in this game as much as, A.J. Harris went 9 for 11 and 6 for 6 from 3 for 31 points. That's an isolated variable. The rest of it was a rivalry game. It was back, it was forth, it was emotional, it was this, it was that. They just happened to have a guy who really stretched out a big lead for them that we just ran out of time trying to come back from.
Coach, aside from Harris, was there an obvious defined reason why your team got beat today?
I wish I could just say it was one thing, Henry. I think at the end of the day, we're not as far along as where we need to be 18 months into me being here, and that's on me. So if there is one reason, it's Paul Weir.
You guys are the second tallest team in the country, but you play a denial style defense, so you're not in position to rebound a lot. Should you still get dominated on the glass like you did tonight to a team that's that small?
You know, I think the game, to be quite honestly, I don't think either team was very good defensively. I think it was it was 98-94. If you told me the game was going to be 98-94, I would have thought we would have won the basketball game. We're 17th in the country in tempo, and they're 320. So I would have felt like that kind of game would have favored us. Harris happened to make some big shots, and I don't want to make it just about that. But I thought the actually flow of the game, particularly towards the end there, that's how we play. That's how we want to play.
But the rebounding, though, in particular, there's not a whole lot of box out. Is that just by style? Is that something Lobo fans have to get used to because of how you play defense?
A little. They're a very good offensive rebounding team. I don't know if I necessarily would have said it was the difference in the game. As far as that goes, I mean, obviously there's a field goal percentage thing that goes into it. I don't have offensive rebounds on here, but I'd have to think more about that before I give you a bit of an answer.
Well, trial by fire for Giroux tonight. He got some valuable minutes, but how important is it to keep Anthony on the floor without foul trouble?
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought I'm not going to get into the specifics of the calls. I told him in the game, I thought Tone had a couple early that were his. There were his errors of commission. And then when you get stuck in some of those areas where you just pick up some random ones on a charge or on this or on that, now all of a sudden you're sitting at 3 or 4. So you can't always control all those that are happening in the speed of in the heat of the moment. And he had a couple that way. We got to take away the other ones of him kind of those little ticky-tack ones he picked up on his own end. So obviously him getting in foul trouble there and towards the end of that first half, early second half really hurt us.
Coach, you talked about tempo a little bit. Were you surprised that they were able to adjust to the tempo that well? Not commit a lot of turnovers, handle the press as well as they did?
They did the same thing last year. I thought they did a very good job. They're not trying to score on the press at all, so they're really just bring everybody back. And then it came time to us to get some stops, and we just couldn't get them. Brown was terrific. I thought he was a good player. It wasn't just Harris, and they made some really, really big shots. I mean, especially in that first half, I thought. They made a lot of shots that, quite frankly, going into this game, we would have taken, saying, you know what, a step back 3-point shot from a guy who's shooting this percentage, we probably would have accepted that shot going into the game. But you got to tip your cap to them. They made some incredible shots. Harris obviously was the highlight of that, but I think them as a team, they earned it with the shots that they made tonight. It wasn't by fluke or bank shots or this or that or the other. They stepped up and made a lot of big shots.
Paul, when you've got so many new guys and you try to tell them about what this place can do, that was a great example of it. They just seemed to kind of lift you guys back in.
Yeah, shoot, if there was another minute or two in the game, it would have been great. But, again, the Aggies won the game, and – that's on me for not getting our guys ready or whatever that may be as far as just getting them understanding, why this game is that important.
Coach, you talked about how hard it was to lose this one at the beginning. And when you made that run like that, the crowd got into it, and then it was late. You were only a couple of points or 4 points down, and with a chance to even go up even to catch even more.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like, hey, we're going to do this? Because this game has had – the history of this game has had so many weird finishes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been triple overtime.
I mean, we always feel that when we felt that way the whole game, as weird as it sounds, even though the score was, I don't think we ever came into a timeout thinking this was over. We felt the way we play, our style, our conditioning, it's suited for late games. We had so many conference games here last year. We were down at half, down with 8 minutes to go, whatever it may be. So it's territory we've been in for. It's probably just a little too much. It was just too much of a deficit to come back from. I don't know exactly what happened on that last possession there and how that went down, but that's what those games come to. It's one possession here or there, goes your way, doesn't go your way. And today, this afternoon, the Aggies made enough plays.
Paul, a lot of people like to refer to this rivalry as little brother down the road.
Yeah.
Little brother's now won 4 times in a row, first time in over 25 years.
Yeah.
So a quarter century. You've been on both sides of this. What does it say about these two programs that right now NMSU is controlling this rivalry?
Yeah, they are. I would say we're trying to catch them. We've been trying to catch them since I got here. I think last year they were a better team than us. I don't think anybody probably would have argued differently. I think going into this year, this was on us to prove that we're the better team, and we didn't do that. And that's on Paul Weir. That's not on our seniors. That's not on our newcomers. That's not on anybody but Paul Weir. So I have to find a way to improve. I have to find a way to get better, not only as a coach, but obviously in games like this, in order to turn around that. It's hopefully very early in what you're looking at of a trend as far as where this will go. But at the end of the day, that is exactly what it is, and I'll take that.
Matt, then Henry, that's it.
Coach, third time playing the Aggies as the coach of the Lobos. You have yet to win. Do you feel the pressure to win?
You know, I think last year, I said this before, I think going into the first game down there was probably a little bit of the newness of all this and what team I was on, but I didn't really think anything of it this game. We were just trying to win the game. I didn't really think much about who's on who or who's what player or any of that stuff. It was really about trying to win the game, and we lost, so that's on me.
The charge at the end looked like the Lobos had a lot left at the end.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And you'd love for a game to be 41 minutes sometimes, but unfortunately it's not, and the Aggies deserve the victory over 40 minutes.